Hi everybody, I'm back. New project. It's not going to be a massive project, hopefully just a few parts. It's not going to be like the Harmony, which took months. This is going to be a Partscaster. I'm going to build a Telecaster, and I'm going to make it out of bits that I bought online. I'm going to build it out of a pre-made body and a pre-made neck. Now I know Partscasters get a bad name, but I think that's because they're not treated as what they are. They're just parts. They're just the bits you would have made if you'd had the tools and the time to do it. Let's go beyond Partscaster and build a guitar to be proud of from parts which have just been partially manufactured somewhere else because we didn't have the kit. Kit guitars and Partscaster guitars are where so many of us start making guitars, myself included. I bought my son a Squier Telecaster. It was just badly put together and just not a very good guitar, and I said to him that I would take it apart and re-engineer it and get it back to him. He's since got married and had a child. So it's taken rather longer than I thought. But, you know, I remain committed to the project, so let's use this as an example of what you can do to improve a sort of off-the-shelf parts Telecaster. It seems very straightforward. You buy yourself a body, you expect to bolt a neck onto it and be underway. But the fact is, this particular body was built with a 6-saddle bridge. And unfortunately, when you take a classic bridge like this and stick it on this body, which is drilled out for the 6-saddle bridge, the pickup's in the right place, but the holes in the bridge for the strings are in a totally different position. So we need to fill those holes up. Yep, that fits in a treat. I'll put some super glue in there and then just chop it off using my Japanese saw, lovely flat saw. One done, need to sand that down now. So that's fine, I've got 5 more of those to do. Just one thing I should mention is super glue always dries dark. So if you want to make this invisible, use the same wood as the body, line the grain up and fill it with something like Titebond, which will go back, you know, dries back white. I'm going to spray this guitar, so I don't care. This looks great. Just need to sand those down now. There we go, all filled. So, next thing, I don't know, what shall we do next? We've actually got some screw holes now left behind, so we need to fill these holes. And in the past I've actually used sort of satay sticks. We're not going to see this. This is all going to be sealed and painted and all the rest of it. So you could use filler, I suppose, but I just think that filling stuff up with wood is inherently more stable. I don't know, it's what we do. So there we are. Those 3 little old screw holes are now completely filled. So this is the original neck. Not very authentic. It's incredibly sort of top heavy somehow. So I think we'll replace this with a different neck. I've actually got about 40 of them. It's a long story. So let's choose a new neck. I had these made in China for a project which I never actually did in the end. I had an idea that I would build guitars in the UK, but it's another story. So that will be our neck, but I don't like the frets. I think the frets are way too fat, and I prefer a thinner Fender style fret. So I'm going to pull all these out, and I also think it's a little bit chunky, so I'm going to be skimming it down. So I've got to take the finish off, I've got to take the frets out. You might say, well, why didn't you just make yourself a neck? Believe you me, this is a lot faster and actually a lot cheaper. This is a starting point to me. Try and lift that end up first. Without that, it's easier. But I want to put it straight back on because I don't want to ruin it. And then, there we go. Strange little cantilever movement which just lifts it out. There we go, that's that one. Let's take that one. Lift it out. That's good. Little cantilever. There we go. So, you know, we're not looking too bad. A few more to go. As if by magic, we have all the frets out. It wasn't magic. I took them all out one at a time, and I haven't even cleaned this up yet, but you can see they came out pretty smoothly. and there's not a lot of damage to the neck. One of the things that I like to do now is to clean it up a little bit and just absolutely ensure that the radius on the top is what I want, and I want 10. So I'm going to run my 10 inch radius radiusing beam down here just to clean it up. Okay, well, it looks like the nut has split, so I think I'll have to pull that out, and I should suspect if I just do give it a little bit, yeah, this is just going to pull out, I think. There you go, it fell to pieces. That's how difficult it is to get that out. Just make sure you don't need to adjust the truss rod. So that's good, but adjust it if it needs it. Otherwise you'll be actually sanding in an error. Bad news. So the fact that the nut fell out wasn't a tragedy. It's actually good news, because we don't want to discover that later on. And it actually makes the whole thing about radiusing the top and re-establishing the radius a lot simpler. Definitely worth doing, because I can see that this wasn't very accurately 10. Now it is. One of the things I think that makes people's 52 Telecaster necks look wrong is a lot of them stick with the factory supplied sort of mother of pearl position dots. And if you look at any sort of old Fender, they've usually got clay dots in it. And if you watched my harmony guitar build, please do, you'll see that I make my own dots just using Fimo. I just drill it in the middle very gently, and then that's that. And take a drill which is close to that size, stick it in, and lean it over and wobble it around a little bit, and they generally, there you go, it's just cracked. And there you go, it came out all in one piece. Amazing what you learn on YouTube. They're all gone. It seems like a fiddly thing to do. It's actually quite easy once you get into it, and it's actually quite fun. But the difference, I think, in the look of the fretboard, once you've got the clay dots in, it just says retro straight away. Next thing to do, got to get this awful yellow off. The easiest way to get it off, in my opinion, cabinet scraper. And all you do is you take your object and you scrape it up, and that's one stroke. And we just keep doing that until all of this rubbish is gone. See? We're making progress so quickly. Cabinet scrapers, I love them. I'm going to stay away from the rosewood, and I'm staying away from here because I don't want to make this any thinner. Look how fast that comes off. I think if I could stain that a little bit darker, I'd be pretty much happy with that. Just a little bit of antique pine or something on it. So there you go, that's most of the surface area of the neck already stripped. Transferred over to my supervise as usual, just to get to these bits here. Also, this thing is just amazing. You must get one of these if you can. Just to hold it all nice and steady as I basically just take all this bits of yellow off. Yeah, the scraper is great for these bits. This neck may not be our ideal neck, and now we've got it stripped back to the wood, and we've got ostensibly a neck blank, just like the one we would have made from scratch, except it's taken about 2 or 3 hours to make it rather than about 2 weeks. We can make this neck exactly what we want it to be. We might find it's a little bit thick here, we might find it's a bit thick here. So we can take wood off until it matches the profile of our favourite guitar neck. Get one of these and you can set the guitar neck up to be exactly the guitar neck you want. So just place it there. This is on fret 1 and this is pretty close to what this recommends, but at the end of the day it's how it feels. There's one that matches the 12th fret, which is about there, so I can take a bit more off of that to get it a little bit more triangular. It's a bit flat and round at the moment. There's one for the 7th fret, which seems to be about spot on. So using this template you can shape the neck to a classic 52 neck design, but the most important thing is put your hand on it and see if it feels the way you want it. To me it's too thick, so I'm going to take a bit more off. I'm just going to work across the neck. Now I think it wants to be more triangular, so a little bit off this side and a little bit off this side. Then put my hand on it. Yep, I can feel it. A little bit here, I want to make this a little bit thinner, so I'm going to work across this little neck piece here, just up by the nut, just to make it a little bit smoother and a little bit shallower on the hand. I'm going to dig into the top of it. And it's all touchy-feely stuff. Just keep going. But don't go too far, because you can't put it back on. Right. That's a lot nicer as a neck than it ever was. You still think this is a Partscaster? Think again. This is now your guitar. This is now proper made guitar rather than just two parts bolted together. Big difference. Try and keep it symmetrical. Just keep touching it. This is always too thick. I like to thin the top of the neck a bit. It's just my personal thing. I like a guitar which is slim over all the length. This is great stuff. Sandpaper on a roll. It's not toilet roll. Get it like that, and then you can use it like a shoe shine. Fantastic for profiling the neck. So this is definitely not a Partscaster. We've just used the blank pieces that someone else has made using the machinery, which we don't have, and stripped them back to what they really are, blocks of wood in the right shape. And we've personalised it. We've made them our own. They're no longer just things we bought off a shelf that we put 4 bolts in. I think it's time to stop, go and have some tea, and we'll continue this in part 2.